Hope you're having a good day. I'm TR Rose, and I am late to the game. So today, I first thought that I would talk about the figures from the new Super Mario Bros. Movie. They're really well detailed and they're crafted incredibly well. They look great. But honestly, you could probably walk into any Target or Walmart and find these figures for yourself. They're not really rare, although they might be in a few years. Instead, I thought that I would share with you 3 janky Bowsers from my collection. Bowser is the final enemy in Super Mario Bros. In most of the games, and he hasn't always had the best representation with products. Now, much like that old icebreaker game, 2 truths and a lie, today I'll be sharing with you 2 legitimate, real Nintendo products and 1 complete bootleg. Can you guess which is which? Stay tuned to find out. The first item I'm going to share with you is this item from the Nintendo High Score Trophies series. This is a legitimate Nintendo product, and these were designed, I think, as sort of a throwback from the arcade era, where you were supposed to put your name, date, and your high score on these little trophies. They made these in Super Mario Bros., Legend of Zelda, and Punch-Out themes, which I think is kind of strange because I don't think Legend of Zelda even had a high scoring point system. But most of these in the Mario series featured Mario, but this one is called Bowser Guards Princess Toadstool. A funny thing about this figure is that the princess herself can be removed, but because these figures are from 1988, they're 35 years old, a lot of them, Princess Toadstool has come loose or is missing altogether. Good job, Princess, you got away! Which leaves Bowser looking very silly. These are a legitimate product. I do have more of these in my collection of the Mario theme, and maybe I'll showcase more of them in a future video series. Bowser looks a little bit silly, but he doesn't look that strange compared to his actual in-game pixel art. In fact, this looks more on model than the official Japanese box art for Super Mario Bros. He doesn't look bad, he's fully dimensional, he's a 3D model, and to the best of my knowledge, this is the first 3D version of Bowser that existed as a product, at least in the United States. I'm not sure what was available in Japan. So this figure is legit. Let's move on to the next one. Here is our next Bowser that I'm going to showcase. This guy is from the N64 era, and he was available only through the Nintendo Super Power Supplies catalog. If you've watched some of my other videos, I've mentioned this before. In the mid to late 90s, if you wanted to have Nintendo merchandise, clothing, or collectibles, it wasn't so easy to come by. In fact, at that time, the only way that you could order things was through these mail order catalogs that were sent to you if you were already a subscriber of Nintendo Power Magazine. They included things like the video game soundtracks on cassette and CD, or VHS tapes that helped you find some of the most difficult stars in Super Mario 64, definitely from a time before YouTube. Bowser here was available to order along with a matching Mario figure, and he first appeared in the Winter 1996 catalog. The images in the 1996 Winter catalog are very different from what the actual product was. Definitely a prototype shown that looks a lot less nice than what we have here. This was available also in spring 1997 that shows the finished versions of the figures, which is what I have here. It's funny because this Bowser looks much nicer and much more on model compared to his actual in-game appearance in Super Mario 64. He looks like the promotional art. He's a little silly looking, but he doesn't look that bad. But the in-game model of Bowser, well, the technology just wasn't there yet. So this Bowser, even though he looks a little silly, he is also a legitimate Nintendo product. That only leaves one more. And that brings us to our final janky Bowser, and this one is the bootleg. In fact, from what I can tell, this is a Mexican bootleg. It took me a lot of research to find out anything that matched this guy. He didn't look like anything I'd seen before, either in my collection or online. I found one other Bowser who looked sort of like this guy, but with a different paint style. From what I understand, Mexican bootlegs are a collector's market all their own. They're widely recognized by their bad paint jobs and their use of neon translucent plastic. Some of the other styles I found in my research were neon stormtroopers from Star Wars, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and other characters. But this Bowser looks like a unique sculpt. I don't think he was a knockoff from any existing product. He seems to be his own thing. He is articulated, sort of, so his head moves, his legs move, his tail moves, and so do his arms. But this arm goes up fully. This one stops at his mouth, so it's sort of giving him a nervous look or maybe a Dr. Evil expression. On his snout, he has these two weird points that are molded into the plastic. They're painted over. It doesn't look like they'll come off. Another weird feature of this Bowser is that he has a hole and a plug on his shell. Now, this comes out, but there's nothing inside. I don't know if there was supposed to be an LED light that went inside so he would light up, but then the plug goes back in place. It sort of fills up the hole, but it's translucent. Just very weird looking. His colors are not quite right. I mean, Bowser is technically orange and with a green shell, but he's never looked like this. He's certainly never had purple on his horns. One interesting thing is that if you hit him with a black light, he certainly lights up like a neon nightmare. And honestly, that's probably the most on-brand thing about this figure. If you've played other games like Super Mario 3D World, you'll remember that World Bowser definitely has that neon Vegas look to it. So a neon Bowser is kind of on brand for the big guy. But he's certainly something I've never seen before. I found this guy a few weeks ago at a local antique mall. I guess 1996 counts as antiques now. He's definitely the N64 era Bowser, as opposed to his more recent looks. But he's a weird collectible, and he is our bootleg. So how did you do? Did you correctly identify that this was the bootleg compared to the other two legitimate products? Well, if you liked today's video, please like, subscribe, and mash that bell. Most importantly, I hope you had fun today.